I'm curious about this holiday, so I go to the cemetery to see what's happening. What I find is quite interesting. The atmosphere is like a party. There are people everywhere. Families are sitting around the graves of their dead ancestors. They clean the graves and add fresh flowers. I walk through the cemetery and admire the beauty of all the colorful flowers. There's also color in the sky because many kids are flying kites. Some families are having a picnic next to the graves. They eat, drink, and chat together. People laugh and smile. In the United States, cemeteries are always somber. We certainly never have festivals or parties next to graves. We don't laugh or play music or fly kites in cemeteries either. I find that I prefer the Guatemalan approach. I like the way they remember and celebrate those who have passed away. I like that they acknowledge death instead of denying it the way Americans do. I like that there is life as well as death in their cemeteries. Guatemalans call it the Day of the Dead, but it is also a day to appreciate life. Okay, this is the vocabulary for Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead.
So Day of the Dead.
The Day of the Dead.
I arrive in Guatemala on the Day of the Dead, November 1st.
November 1st.
I'm curious about this holiday. Holiday is the normal word we use for festival. Some people say festival, but holiday is more common. Christmas is a holiday. Halloween is a holiday. So holiday is a common word, the most common word we use. Okay, so I say, I'm curious about this holiday, so I go to the cemetery. Cemetery is a place for dead people. Okay, many dead people in a cemetery. So that's what a cemetery is, right? A place for dead people, cemetery. It's a large area, usually, large place, cemetery. Okay. The next paragraph, I say, the atmosphere is like a party. Here, atmosphere means the general feeling of a place. For example, I might say, this house has a happy atmosphere. Right? It means the place has a happy feeling. Maybe it's very warm. Maybe a lot of nice people there. Many reasons, but atmosphere means the feeling of a place, the atmosphere. So the cemetery had an atmosphere, a feeling like a party. There are many people everywhere. And people were sitting around the graves of their dead ancestors. A grave is a place where one dead person is buried. Right? One dead person is in a grave. One dead body in a grave. Many graves in a cemetery. Right? So a cemetery has many graves. So each grave has one body, and then many graves in a cemetery. Okay, they're sitting around the graves of their dead ancestors. An ancestor is a person who comes before you in your family. For example, your grandfather or grandmother is an ancestor. Or your great-grandmother is an ancestor. So all the people in your family older than you, or, who came before you. These people are your ancestors. So it's ancestors. We say ancestors. Okay, they clean the graves and add fresh flowers. The families clean the graves. And I walk around through the cemetery, and I admire, I appreciate, I admire the beauty of all the colorful flowers. There's also color in the sky, because many kids means children, so many kids are flying kites. Kites are paper or plastic, with a string, and you fly them in the wind. Usually children fly kites. That's kites. Some families are having a picnic next to the graves. Picnic is when you eat outside, right? You eat outside with many people. That is a picnic. Okay, and the people, they eat, drink, and chat together. They laugh and they smile. This is different than the United States. In the United States, cemeteries are always somber. Somber means very serious. Somber. Serious and not fun. Right? Serious and not fun. Somber. So in America, in the United States, cemeteries are somber. They are somber. Very serious, not fun. Somber. And we never have festivals or parties next to graves. We don't laugh or play music or fly kites in cemeteries either. And then I say, I find that I prefer the Guatemalan approach. I find that. Here, find means realize. I realize that I prefer the Guatemalan approach. I realize. I find that I prefer. I realize that I prefer. I understand that I prefer. Okay, so here find has a different meaning than normal, a little bit. So I find that I prefer the Guatemalan approach. Here, approach means way. Okay, I prefer the Guatemalan way, the Guatemalan method. I prefer the Guatemalan way. I prefer the Guatemalan approach. Okay, I like the way they remember and celebrate those who have passed away. To pass away means to die. It's very polite and very soft way to say die. So if someone's mother dies, you can say, I'm sorry your mother passed away. I'm sorry your mom passed away. I'm sorry she died. I'm sorry she passed away. Passed away is softer and more polite. Okay, next sentence I say, I like that they acknowledge death. Acknowledge means to recognize, to see and recognize. Instead of denying it, denying is the opposite of acknowledge. Deny means avoid, to say no to something. To avoid something is to deny it, And the opposite of deny is acknowledge and deny. opposites. Okay, so they don't deny death the way Americans do. I like that there is life as well as death in their cemeteries. Guatemalans call it the Day of the Dead, but it's also a day to appreciate life. Appreciate means celebrate, to understand and like something, so to appreciate.
I am strength.
Okay, that is all of the vocabulary. Listen to the vocabulary lesson a few times. Read the text several times. Listen to the audio article
To receive.
a few times.
I am abundant.
And then,
I
finally,
bless.
listen to the mini story many, many times, a lot, every day. Okay,
I am wealthy. I am rich.
welcome to the mini story
I am
for
successful.
Day of the Dead. In the mini story, I will do 3 things. I will make a statement.
Myself.
For example,
I am motivated.
I arrived in Guatemala. When you hear a statement, a sentence, you just say, ah, or oh. Okay? You need to say that, show that you understand this is not a question. Okay? A statement is not a question. So, when you hear a statement, say, ah. For example, I arrive in Guatemala. Ah. Okay? The second thing I will do is ask a question you know the answer to. For example, where do I arrive?
I am freedom.
Okay? I will stop. You say the answer. Okay? You must say the answer to every question. I say, I arrive in Guatemala.
I am relaxed. I am
Where did I arrive?
I am at work.
You say, Guatemala. Okay, easy. And number 3, I might ask a question you don't know the answer to. If you don't know the answer, just guess. Say any answer, but you must answer every question.
I am in the moment.
Use your pause button
Right here, right now.
if necessary.
I am fully.
Okay, let's begin. Okay, here we go. I arrived in Guatemala on the Day of the Dead,
I am
November 1st. Did I arrive in Guatemala?
I am achieving.
Yes, I arrived in Guatemala. Where did I arrive?
I am motivated.
Guatemala, right? I arrived in
I
Guatemala.
am successful.
I arrived in Guatemala on the Day of the Dead, November 1st. Who arrived in Guatemala
Born leader.
on the Day of the Dead?
I am successful.
Well, me, AJ, right? I arrived in Guatemala on the Day of the Dead, November 1st. Did I arrive in Guatemala
I am
on November 3rd?
I am focused.
No, I didn't arrive in Guatemala on November 3rd. I arrived in Guatemala on November 1st.
I am love. I
What
am
day
peace.
did I arrive
I
in
am
Guatemala?
happiness.
November 1st. I arrived in Guatemala on November 1st.
I am
Where did I arrive
I
on
am
November
rich.
1st?
I am abundance.
Well, Guatemala, right? I arrived in Guatemala on November 1st. I arrived in Guatemala on the Day of the Dead,
I am
November 1st.
I am wise.
I was curious about this holiday, so I went to the cemetery to see what was happening.
I am fulfilled.
Was I angry about this holiday? No, I wasn't angry about this holiday. Was I sad about this holiday?
Gratitude. I am peaceful.
No, I wasn't sad about this holiday. I was curious about this holiday. Who was curious about this holiday?
I am a millionaire.
Well, I was, AJ. I was curious
I am
about
peaceful.
this holiday. What was I curious about? The holiday, right? I was curious about the holiday.
I am living
Which holiday was I curious about? Which holiday was I curious about?
I am
The Day of the Dead.
I am
I was curious about the Day of the Dead. Was I curious about the Day of the Dead? Or was I curious about Christmas?
I am optimistic.
Well, I was curious about the Day of the Dead, of course. I was curious about the Day of the Dead, so I went to the cemetery to see what was happening.
I am healthy.
Where did I go?
I am wealthy. I am
To the cemetery. I went to the cemetery. Did I go to the cemetery or did I go to the airport?
I am strength. I
Easy. I went to the cemetery.
am powerful.
Who went to the cemetery? Well, me, right? AJ. Right? I went to the cemetery. Where did I go?
I am blessed.
To the cemetery, right. I went to the cemetery. When did I go to the cemetery?
I am wealthy. I
Oh,
am
November 1st, the Day of the Dead, right? I went to the cemetery on the Day of the Dead, November 1st. Why did I go to the cemetery? Well, to see what was happening. I went to the cemetery to see what was happening.
I am fearless. I am
Who went to the cemetery to see what was happening? Me, AJ, went to the cemetery to see what was happening.
I am persistent.
Where
I am strong.
was the
I am balanced. I am positive. I am peaceful. I am freedom. I am open. I am wise. I am taking bold steps. I am moving forward with confidence. I am achieving. I am motivated. I am driven. I am successful.